The illusion of modern farming. Imagine standing at your back door, looking across just 1 acre of land, and realizing that little piece of ground could hold a key to real food security and steady farm income. Yet most people who own an acre are still buying almost everything from the grocery store every week. When you think about today's prices, that should make every homesteader stop and ask a serious question. Feed costs for cattle have climbed sharply. Hay prices have doubled in many areas. And for a family of 4, the monthly grocery bill can easily push past $1,000. Still, many people have been taught that real farming profit requires 20 acres, a huge barn, expensive equipment, and a truck payment big enough to scare anyone away. But after years of working around livestock and watching small farms succeed or fail, I can tell you this: that idea is not always true. What if the most profitable animal per square foot in America is not cattle, not pigs, and not even the backyard chicken so many people love? What if the animal that quietly turns feed into meat, manure, and income faster than almost anything else on a small farm is one most people completely overlook? Today we are talking about meat rabbits. A well-managed rabbit setup on just 1 acre can become a serious homestead business, with some smart growers claiming up to $35,000 a year when they combine the right systems, markets, and income streams. So why aren't more people doing it? Is the idea too good to be true? Or have most people simply never been shown the real numbers? By the end of this video, you will understand the basic blueprint, the 7 hidden income streams, and the costly beginner mistakes that can wipe out a rabbit operation before it ever becomes profitable. So keep your notebook close, because this may change the way you look at a small piece of land forever. Section 1. The forgotten champion of history. To understand why rabbits can be such a powerful small farm animal today, we need to look back for a moment. Rabbit farming is not a new trend created by the internet. Long before modern factory farms, large feed mills, and industrial livestock systems, rabbits were already being raised as practical food animals. In medieval times, monks raised rabbits inside monastery walls and often treated them as poor man's livestock because they did not require wealthy landowners, huge pastures, or expensive buildings. Almost anyone with a little space and basic care could raise them. During the World Wars, the United States government even encouraged families to raise rabbits in their backyards so they could produce meat at home without putting extra pressure on the national food supply. One of the most interesting examples comes from Chatham County, North Carolina, in the early 1900s. The area had so many rabbits that farmers and young boys trapped and shipped around 35,000 rabbits by railcar in a single year to high-end restaurants in New York and Connecticut. That brought thousands of dollars into the local economy at a time when rural families needed every possible income source. So what happened to that knowledge? It was pushed into the background. The commercial meat industry grew around cattle, pork, and poultry because those animals fit large-scale factory production. They can be centralized, processed in massive numbers, and controlled by big companies. Rabbits are different. They are small, quiet, efficient, and far too easy for ordinary families to raise at home. And when you look at the biology, the numbers are hard to ignore. A rabbit can produce about 1 pound of meat from roughly 4 pounds of feed. Cattle may require 7 to 8 pounds of feed for 1 pound of meat, while pigs often need around 5 to 6 pounds. That makes rabbits one of the most efficient meat animals a small farm can use. In terms of protein produced from space, feed, and time, rabbits are not just competitive, they are outstanding. Section 2. The myth of big land and the 1 acre ecosystem. Now, you may be wondering how a serious rabbit operation could fit on a small piece of land without becoming crowded, dirty, or difficult to manage. From my experience, the problem on many small homesteads is not always the soil, the weather, or the size of the land. Very often it is poor design. When you organize a 1 acre farm with simple permaculture thinking, the whole system starts to make sense. The areas closest to the house should serve your daily needs. Your kitchen garden belongs near the back door. A little farther out, you can grow perennial food plants, fruit trees, and useful shrubs. Then in the right place, you create what I like to think of as a rabbit and worm integration hub. A rabbit breeding trio 1 buck and 2 does not need much space. In an area smaller than many garden sheds, around 30 square feet, that trio can produce roughly 120 to 180 pounds of clean, lean meat in a year when managed well. Another major advantage is that rabbits are quiet. No crowing at sunrise, no loud squealing, and fewer complaints from neighbors. In many places where chickens face strict rules or are not allowed at all, rabbits may still be permitted. But the real strength comes from the cycle you build around them. If your rabbit hutches are raised, you can place a worm bin underneath. The droppings fall down naturally, the worms break them down, And over time, you get rich vermicompost for the garden. That compost feeds your soil. The soil grows vegetables. Your garden scraps help feed the rabbits. Then the cycle begins again. This is where rabbit farming becomes more than just keeping animals. You are not creating separate chores that fight against each other. You are building one connected biological system where waste becomes fertility, fertility becomes food, and food supports both the animals and the family. Section 3, the primary engines, direct meat and premium pelts. Now let's talk about the money side, because reaching a number like $35,000 does not come from one product alone. It comes from stacking several income streams on top of one well-managed system. The first and most obvious income stream is direct-to-consumer meat sales. A strong, productive doe can produce up to 200 pounds of meat in a year under good management. If you build a 40-rabbit operation with around 10 breeding does, you could be looking at close to 2,000 pounds of marketable rabbit meat annually. Sold directly to customers at a farmer's market, rabbit meat can bring about $8 to $12 per pound in many areas. The reason is simple. A growing number of buyers want lean, clean, high-protein meat. Rabbit meat offers around 20 to 25 grams of protein per serving while staying low in fat and cholesterol. Even at the lower price of $8 per pound, 2,000 pounds of meat equals about $16,000 in gross income from meat alone. But that is only the first stream. The second income stream is pelts and hides. Many beginners process rabbits and throw the hides away, not realizing they are throwing away another product with real value. Rabbit hides can sell for around $5 to $10 each to crafters, tanners, and people who work with natural materials. If you raise heritage breeds such as Rex or Silver Fox, their dense, soft fur can command even better prices. If you process 200 rabbits a year and save, salt, and handle the pelts properly, that can add another $1,000 to $2,000 to your annual income with very little extra investment. On a small farm, that kind of added value matters. The more products you can responsibly create from the same animal, the stronger your business becomes. Section 4. Black gold, the magic of bunny honey. If you think rabbit meat and fur are the only ways to make money from a rabbitry, you are leaving one of the easiest income streams on the ground. The third income stream is rabbit manure, often called bunny honey, and experienced gardeners know exactly why it has that nickname. Here is the important part. Rabbit manure is considered a cold manure. Unlike chicken, cow, or horse manure, it does not have to sit for months before you can use it safely. You can apply it directly around garden plants without burning tender roots or young leaves. For vegetable growers, backyard gardeners, and small nurseries, that is a big advantage. This is why rabbit manure can become real monthly income. Depending on your local market, you can bag this rich garden fertilizer and sell it for $60 to $180 a month. Some small farmers pack it into 5-pound bags and place it right beside their rabbit meat at the farmer's market. It is simple, useful, and easy for customers to understand. In many rabbit operations, the manure income alone can cover the monthly feed bill. Think about that for a moment. The waste from the animals can help pay for the cost of keeping them alive. Once that happens, the money you earn from meat, pelts, breeding stock, or other sales becomes much easier to protect as profit. Section 5. Scaling the brand, breeding, chefs, and pets. As your skill improves, your reputation starts to grow with it. That is when income streams 4, 5, and 6 become possible. Breeding stock, restaurant partnerships, and the live rabbit market. Once you build a strong genetic line and start tracking litter size, growth rate, body condition, and mothering ability, other homesteaders will begin to see the value in your animals. A proven pedigreed doe can often sell for $50 to $100. If you keep back just 20 of your best rabbits each year for breeding sales, that can add another $1 to $2,000 to your yearly income. Then there is the restaurant market. Farm-to-table chefs are always looking for reliable local producers who can provide clean specialty protein on a consistent schedule. A chef may pay $12 to $16 per pound for whole, dressed rabbits if the quality and supply are dependable. That can be much higher than the standard farmer's market price. And remember, not every rabbit has to go to the meat market. Some breeds with beautiful coats, gentle temperaments, and strong body type can become pets, show rabbits, or 4-H project animals. Pet quality and show quality rabbits can sell for $25 to well over $100 each, depending on breed and quality. The smart approach is to sort every litter into its best market. Some rabbits are best for meat. Some are best for breeding. Some are better suited for pets or shows. When you understand that, you stop wasting value and start using each animal in the most profitable and responsible way. Section 6. The ultimate challenge. Beating the feed costs. Now we need to talk honestly, because I am not here to make rabbit farming sound easier than it is. The biggest threat to this $35,000 dream is feed cost. If you run a pellet-only system and buy everything in retail bags, feed can eat up a huge part of your expenses. In some setups, it can account for up to 80% of the total operating cost. If you are paying high prices for bags of alfalfa pellets, your profit margin can disappear very quickly. So how do experienced rabbit growers stay profitable? They take control of the feed supply. Many successful rabbit farmers reduce costs by using forage and fodder. With a simple traditional scythe, you can harvest grasses, clover, and safe weeds from your own land. That turns part of your property into a low-cost feed source instead of depending only on store-bought pellets. Another strong option is a sprouted fodder system. You soak whole barley seed overnight, spread it into shallow trays, and rinse it regularly. In about 7 days, that seed turns into a thick green mat of fresh fodder. This high-moisture feed can help reduce the amount of expensive commercial pellets you need. But there is one warning you must take seriously. Never change a rabbit's diet too fast. Rabbits have sensitive digestive systems, and sudden feed changes can cause dangerous or even fatal problems. Any new forage or fodder should be introduced slowly and carefully. So the real question is this: are you willing to spend a little time each day growing fodder, cutting safe forage, or producing part of your own feed? Because if you are, that is where rabbit farming starts to become much more profitable. Feed control is the difference between raising rabbits as an expensive hobby and building a system that can actually produce affordable meat and steady income. Section 7. The heartbreaking mistakes that bankrupt beginners. Before you go out and buy 20 rabbits tomorrow, I want you to slow down and listen carefully. I have seen plenty of excited beginners lose money before their rabbitry ever had a real chance to succeed. The opportunity is real, but only if you avoid the mistakes that destroy small operations. Mistake number 1 is ignoring heat. Rabbits are very tough in cold weather. With proper shelter, they can handle winter far better than many people expect. But heat is a completely different story. Heat can kill rabbits fast, and often before a beginner realizes how serious the problem has become. When temperatures rise above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, rabbits can suffer fatal heat stroke within hours. That means summer management is not optional. You need deep shade, strong airflow, clean water, and simple cooling methods like frozen water bottles during dangerous heat. If you ignore this, you can lose an entire herd in one afternoon. Mistake number 2 is not understanding the regulations. In the United States, rabbits are considered a non-amenable species. That means USDA inspection is not required everywhere in the same way it is for major livestock, but selling meat is still not something you should do casually. If you want to sell across state lines or supply commercial restaurants, you may need voluntary USDA inspection, and that cost often comes out of your own pocket. Another challenge is processing. Not every slaughterhouse will handle rabbits because rabbits require specific equipment and handling. Before you buy breeding stock, you need to research your local zoning rules, processing laws, and sales regulations. Some suburban areas may allow rabbits, but limit the total number to something like 15 animals, which can make a commercial-sized herd illegal. Know the rules first, not after you have already invested your money. Mistake number 3 is having no breeding calendar. If you are not tracking breeding dates, kindling dates, litter sizes, weaning times, and rest periods, your system will eventually fall apart. You may overbreed your does and weaken your herd, or you may create big gaps where you have nothing ready to sell. Organization is what separates a profitable rabbit business from a stressful backyard hobby. Section 8. Building your own ecosystem. Lessons for today. When you step back and look at the history, the efficiency, and the many income streams of meat rabbits, one important lesson becomes clear. This is not only about making $35,000 a year. It is about taking back a measure of independence. A well-designed rabbitry can become part of a resilient, closed-loop backyard system. You become less dependent on fragile supply chains. You stop feeling powerless every time meat prices rise at the grocery store. Instead of only consuming, you start producing. When you connect your garden, compost, and animals together, you create a living system where very little goes to waste. The rabbits provide manure. The manure feeds the soil. The soil grows vegetables and forage. That food supports your family and can help support the rabbits again. That is what practical self-sufficiency looks like. It is not a fantasy, and it does not require 100 acres or a huge bank loan. It requires planning, daily care, good records, and the patience to learn from nature instead of fighting against it. Outro. Your turn to take action. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to take more control over your food supply? Are you ready to look at a simple patch of grass and see more than unused land? Because with the right plan, that small space can become a source of meat, fertility, savings, and income. If this video helped you see what is possible on just 1 acre, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss more practical homesteading and small farm lessons like this. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 income streams surprised you the most? Are you thinking about starting your own rabbitry, or are you already raising rabbits? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I read them, and I always enjoy helping people build smarter, stronger farm systems. Thank you for watching Farmyard Care. Remember, your land may be more valuable than you think, your hands are capable, and the best time to start learning is today. See you in the next video.